All right, folks, got Miami head coach Jim Larrañaga here. If you have questions for Coach L, please use the hand raise function and wait to be called on. We will start off with Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald. Michelle?
Hey, Jim. Congratulations on the win at North Carolina. I'm just wondering, what did you learn about your team from that game? You know, when Norchad went out early, North Carolina kept it really close, but your guys were able to still, hang in there. And then second half kind of seemed to take over. Jordan Miller once again and Pack. What did you learn about your team from that game?
Well, the first thing is I thought our guys were very well prepared to play Carolina on the road. We've had some success on the road. Our win over Clemson the week before was very, very good. I think our guys are playing with a good deal of confidence, and they are learning that there's no one player that has to have a great game for us to succeed. Norchad was only 1 for 7 from the field. He was in foul trouble in the first half. But Anthony Walker, A.J. Casey, Jordan Miller, and the rest of the squad really hung in there. We had a 1-point lead at the half. And then Norchad did a fantastic job in the second half of containing the preseason player of the year in Baycott. So it was a very good team effort. Jordan Miller was great. Nigel's great. I think that the balance of our team right now, Wooga Poplar's really contributing. Isaiah's like the best. And our bench is doing a very nice job. Bensley Joseph, Harlan Beverly, and now Anthony Walker.
Hey, Coach. With Wake Forest coming in, Tyler Appleby's having a heck of a season. Just what are your thoughts on him, and how do you guys plan on slowing him down Saturday?
Yeah, he's a handful for anybody. Leading scorer in the league. He's also good at finding the open man. He gets the big guys involved, gets them layups and dunks. He gets his shooters 3-point shots. He's a terrific all-around player. We have a number of guys. Nigel Pack will probably start on him. Bensley Joseph will guard him a lot. Maybe Isaiah. You got to keep a fresh body on him all the time because he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot.
Go to Adam Lichtenstein from the Sun Sentinel. Adam?
Hi, Jim. So obviously, I know 3 of your next 4, 3 of the last 4 regular season games are at home, but after that tough road stretch in January, do you think your team's learned more about playing in tough environments? And do you see that up at North Carolina?
I think we've played very well on the road, and I think that's been consistent over the years. Our struggles were really at the end of the game. At Georgia Tech, we had a 6-point lead and didn't finish strong. At Pitt, we had a 6-point lead and didn't finish strong. But the other night against Carolina, we had a 6-point lead, ended up winning by 8. At Clemson, the same way. So, you're not going to play great every night. And the home court is an advantage. Hopefully we can play well in these last 3 home games because that would be a terrific way to end the season.
Go back to Azubi.
Hey, Coach. Wake Forest coming in 3 straight wins. If you were talking to your team right now, what are 3 key things you tell them to hone in on to get that W Saturday?
Well, the first thing is they are huge. I don't know if they'll start their big team, but they have 5 guys 6'10" or bigger. And of course, because of our size, I'm always concerned about the size factor and so we'll devote some time to that today and tomorrow of trying to figure out the best way to minimize their size. And then the second thing is they've got terrific guard play. When you look at Appleby, Williamson, and Monsanto and Hildreth, you got 4 guys who can really shoot and score. So it puts a lot of pressure on your perimeter defense. So that'll be another thing we emphasize to our guys. It's a challenge for us to guard these guys because they're a very potent offensive team. Monsanto is the leading 3-point shot maker in the league right now. And of course, Appleby is the leading scorer. So, they're going to really test our defense.
Go to Dave Hyde from the Sun Sentinel. Dave.
Yeah, Jim, could you talk about your offense? Why, I was just going through all the numbers here. Why is it so efficient? What's working this year?
Well, first of all, we have two guys who've scored 1,500 career points or more in Jordan Miller and Isaiah Wong. We have two guys that are over 1,000 in Nigel Pack and Norshad O'Meara. So those guys have a lot of experience of scoring the ball, and they've done it in a variety of ways. You add Wooga Poplar to that group, who's also a very efficient shooter, and they've been willing to share the ball. I think the best compliment I can pay my players is that they share the ball very unselfishly, and it doesn't matter to them who scores as long as we score. So I would say that's been the key all season long, the unselfish play.
One other question. I remember last year you're always ordering the same smoothie at lunch, and you have all these, I don't know, habits or rituals. I don't know where the line is there. What are some other things you do that's always the same? And is there a purpose behind it, or is that just how you are?
Well, I just came back from Smoothie King. I had my angel food. It's the same drink every time. But I am a man of routine. I like consistency, both in my players and in my family life and in my professional life. So my alarm is set for the same time every morning. It doesn't change. It's Sunday through Saturday. I do the same things when I get up. I eat the same foods for breakfast. When I go to certain restaurants, I know what my food is. I don't really change my routines very often. Even the practice plan, if you looked at our practice plan from 3 weeks ago, well, let's say the Thursday before we played Clemson, the Thursday before we played Louisville, and now the Thursday before we play Wake Forest, the practice plans are almost identical because I want my players in a very good routine, same kind of shooting drills, same kind of ball handling drills, same kind of defensive drills and offensive drills. Hopefully those things, because they are routine, help build confidence.
What do you have for breakfast every day?
Well, I have cereal. Today it was Frosted Flakes. Sometimes it's Honey Nut Cheerios, but it's normally one of those two things. Every once in a while, I'll have some toast if I'm hungry. And I have a cup of tea with it.
Go back to
Thank you.
Michelle.
Jim, I want to ask you about your sideline demeanor this year. You seem a lot calmer. Even my husband has pointed it out to me. He said, you need to ask this to Jim. And I noticed the same thing. You just seem to be very relaxed this year. Not as animated maybe as several years ago or whatever. Is that by design? Is it just because this team knows what it's doing and you have more confidence that things are going well, or is, do you feel that way? Do you feel like you're calmer on the sideline this season for some reason?
Well, I'd like to think there are two things that are very true at the same time. The first is I'm always telling our players to keep their poise, to not get too emotional. You don't want to be on a seesaw. What's the other name for seesaw? I was trying to think of that.
Teeter-totter.
Yeah, teeter-totter. You don't want to be up one day, down the next, up, down, up, down. So I've always tried to remain calm. My good friend, Dr. Bob Rotella, is always telling me, train, then trust. Train the guys in practice, do all the hard work in practice. But once the game begins, have a great deal of confidence and trust in them to make good decisions. So I've always tried to remain calm on the sideline. Now, that doesn't mean I won't be animated from time to time, depending on the circumstances or the game. But hopefully, as a coach, I've been true to my philosophy of staying poised and calm and being able to direct my team without too much emotion. The crowd can create the emotion, the crowd can create the energy. But if I'm a wild man on the sideline, chances are my players will be wild on the court.
But do you feel like, are you calmer this year? Like the whistle, the loud whistle, not as often, I don't think. Is it just that they don't need it as much as in other teams you had, or?
Yeah, it's hard for me to evaluate that. I don't see any difference in me, but you know, if others do, that's their opinion. So I'm not going to argue with it.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else for Coach L?
Yeah, could I ask one?
Yeah, go ahead,
more
Dave.
question? You said on the radio the other day you keep I think 10 cough drops in one pocket and a message to yourself in the other pocket. Does that message change, or is it per game, or is it just a constant?
Okay, so the reason I keep the 10 cough drops in my right pocket, I reach in there every few minutes. As I finish one, I take another, and it's to try to keep my voice moist, because if I don't, I get very, very hoarse and I can't even speak the next day. The things in my left pocket, the note I keep to myself is about the officials who are going to work the game and the coaches who are the opponent's coaches. So I'd like to know who I'm working against, coaching against, their head coach and their staff, and the officials who are working that night.
So it's just their names, the names of everybody.
Yeah, with pictures.
With pictures. Huh.
Oh, with pictures. Okay.
All right,
Very
Coach.
interesting.
Thank you very much for your time. We'll have Associate Head Coach Bill Courtney